Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2019. The Afreeca Freecs were able to topple KT Rolster off the back of a mid lane Galio and Ashe that did fantastic things in the early game in that first skirmish after getting shoved in time after time.
Came here from Germany.
Oh, that's cool. All right, German fans in the audience. And as you can see, Lowell Park pretty packed at the moment. Few empty seats, but KT versus Afreeca would have been a barn burner in seasons gone by, but not so much here at this current point in the season. Excited to see what's going to happen here as the Afreeca Freecs move into a game number 2. And I feel like having an actual mid laner has really helped this team.
We're jumping right in to game number 2, wasting no time.
Oh, heck no. No. We want to see whether the Afreeca Freecs can back this one up against KT, whether KT Rolster can fight back. Now, with red side in their hands, Smeb should be able to get himself a better matchup up against Kiin, so things will be very different. Afreeca going to change up the bans just a little bit. The Gragas is going to be taken away from score this time. The LeBlanc was banned in game number 1, third by the Afreeca Freecs, as the Jace and the Ryze once again going to hit the bench.
Nocturne now being banned away.
It's interesting because the Zoe still available, certainly a big pickup here, and every single AD carry is left unscathed. So this is going to be an important ban for KT Rolster. What do they want to protect, the mid lane or the AD carry position? The Lucian was the only AD carry banned in game number 1. That's because aiming does really like that guy. Lissandra is going to be the ban away here, so KT throwing that one to the wind, and the Zoe is a pretty obvious one.
I think this is one of Sun's most played champions in solo queue right now.
Yeah, he was basically the Zoe one trick.
Yeah, he's a Zoe enthusiast.
He is. He likes them trouble bubbles. And he's going to lock that one away. We'll see what he's actually able to do. It's the first time he's played it so far. The first time he's been allowed to play it. As the Galio Kalista going to come in, the dream for KT Rolster. That's what they're going to get on the back of leaving the Zoe available. So far, both teams with very powerful first rounds in this draft. But what can Afreeca Freecs do to augment this Zoe pickup? I feel like Tankkench Ezreal does work out very well here to go into one of those compositions, but Ashe has been fitting into a similar role right now.
A lot of Koreans recently are of the opinion that Ashe is a better answer to Kalista than anyone else right now. I personally think that Draven is up there, but obviously not too many Draven enthusiasts in the LCK, but Ashe and Draven are the general consensus for the answers to Kalista picks right now, and so trying to match the power level down there in the bottom. They have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they have the Zoe as well, and now KT, if there was a chance to pick Yorick, it would have just been right there. The Elise is just very perplexing to me, because Elise is not going to get hit inside of the bans in the follow-up round, especially not with those champions having been revealed. I feel like this is a really big blunder not to have just gotten the Yorick for Smeb, and then you ban away the Yorick counters.
Yeah, Fiora Jax could be then the next round of bans.
Jax Vladimir.
Yeah, maybe their idea is banning away champions to go into scores matchup to try and do a similar line of thought without having to then hit solely the top lane. I can understand it in theory, but the Elise is jumping out at me as KT wanting to go for double physical damage in their solo lanes.
Yep. Well, Olaf now banned away, obviously relatively okay into the Elise. Syndra now being targeted as well.
Yeah, the Zoe counters, they're trying to get rid of them. The options into the Zoe anyway. Doesn't feel like there are many counters for that pick in the mid lane at the moment. The Kha'Zix's going to be taken away, so Dread not going to have that comfort pick as the answer, and the Zed. I think it's the first time that we've seen any sort of attention given apart from hovers, and it's going to be banned away from BDD, and I actually really like that read because the Elise was picked up, and Yasuo, something like a Yasuo, a Zed can certainly work out, but the Yasuo is going to be locked in here, so BDD going to be taking that once again.
I definitely would have much rather have banned away the Yasuo than the Syndra instead, because then you're able to go Mercury Treads against the Elise, Galio, and the Syndra. You have a little bit of magic resistance against her as well. And now it's going to be a little bit difficult to itemize against the Yasuo Elise combo. Afreeca on the flip side going to go with the Aatrox and the Lee Sin. Yorick can definitely be picked here.
Yeah, I feel like if they do lock away the the Aatrox, it makes it a very easy Yorick pickup. That's a dangerous one for Kiin. It's what Flame decided to do. That was his blind pick option. He played it back-to-back in games and was just smashed by Yorick in lane yesterday. Damwon versus Kingzone was not exactly a happy time for Damwon fans. And Rascal getting Flame's number is something that a lot of us weren't actually expecting. But after back-to-back Aatrox performances, this is so obvious, right? The Yorick is going to be locked away. And look at that mixed damage profile that we were talking about. This is so obvious from KT with that Elise pickup in the 3rd round.
Well, Afreeca find themselves inside of a nightmare as this entire team composition is now reliant on either one of two things occurring. Either Ashe and Zoe get very far ahead, at which point KT's team composition cannot stabilize and hold on, or Atlas.
Oh yeah, give it to me.
It all just comes down to Zoe bubbles around the 40-minute mark, which is not a very good thing that you want to have happen. So KT, they're going to feel pretty comfortable, I would imagine, walking out of this draft in game number 2. Question remains, where is Karthus? That's the big
I think that question
me.
will be always the big one for you, LS, as we bring up the Afreeca roster. It's going to be Aatrox into the Yorick once again, Lee Sin in the jungle, Zoe, and then Ashe and Alistar will be your bottom lane.
Definitely a heavy reliance on getting ahead. The Lee Sin, it's going to be on him to try to weather the storm for Zoe in the mid lane, but also making sure that Aatrox does not fall behind there up in the top lane. On the flip side, though, for KT, Kalista Galio, that's a kill lane that is going to be trying to get ahead. Yasuo, Elise also trying to accelerate. But it's not like these champions don't actually have scaling. When you look at the Afreeca comp, these champions are able to go late. In fact, we'd probably say that they're stronger the longer that the game ends up going.
Yeah. The thing that I'm scared about is mid-game last breaths being activated by this Galio to come in, as well as a lot of other options. Let's see what happens here in game number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, we are in a KT-dominated LoL Park at the moment. Afreeca not quite able to pick up their fans. Thankfully, Aiming brought his mum today, so that he's definitely got a fan. And also now has an MVP off the back of game number 1, and now is back on the same champion once more. So should be some comfort for Aiming on the bottom side of the map. Jelly going to move on over, and his Alistar was fantastic also. So I'm really glad to see Afreeca sticking to this lane combination. Now with SnowFlower on the Galio, his heroic entrance is going to be very, very frightening if he can move up this river. Because if he jumps on top of anyone, it's going to be stopwatches necessary. Otherwise, BDD is going to be all over you.
2 cleanses out for KT as well. Definitely respecting the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Zoe bubbles.
Yeah, Zenit actually moving over to it.
Peculiar ward location there for Sun. You don't actually need it. What you can do is you can place the ward close to where BDD was actually standing. And a lot of people don't know this, but the left side Scuttle Crab will pass onto the right-hand side of that ward that Sun placed at around 219. And if it doesn't show, it means that the crab was eaten.
Right.
So definitely able to just utilize the pathing nature of the crab in order to know if it's been consumed or not. And you could have just placed the ward a little bit further up because that's like half a ward right now. That's not getting that much intel, but doesn't matter. Score seems to have other plans in mind.
Well, I was actually thinking that you were focusing on the wrong thing, because this Zoe has taken Unsealed Spellbook, and knowing you, Mr. LS, you are a bit of a fan of this Keystone.
Yeah. I think in lanes where you don't really need the Airy to try to bully or pressure the opponent, Spellbook is just inherently better. I think this actually goes for most champions as well, but Zoe is definitely one of the best champions that's able to utilize it, because she's going to overkill you regardless at the 30-40 minute mark as long as she hits a bubble. It's not about having a summoner.
Yeah, and also you should be able to control this lane relatively well. I mean, range versus melee doesn't exist as much against the Yasuo because, as you can see, it throws a lot of tornadoes around and things like that. However, you're going to have a lot more reliability by being able to switch up these summoner spells as you move into the later stages of the game. Score doesn't want them to do that, though, as he's looking for an early dive. Vision is down. Remember, Jelly does have the Pulverize, so you can't just pile in on top of this bottom lane underneath the turret. And Score says, no, I'm not going to go for a dive just yet as he takes down the Krugs.
Definitely be very difficult to execute. Now, Score is clearing the Golem. I think that they really want to force the agenda here.
Starting to make this look relatively obvious, though, as aiming actually does take a decent chunk of damage. But Zenit now is completely out of mana. The taunt is going to land. SnowFlower is going to pick up the aggro. His Score is able to get it for Zenit there. He's going to be able to get out, and now Sun doesn't find the beach ball. That is huge news, as it is evened out in the end. Zenit has to flash. Score might have to do the same, as he's just trying to take someone down with him, but he's not going to. That is a great trade for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, that was one of the most questionable and bizarre dive attempts that KT just ended up going for, and Afreeca, they had the teleport on the Zoe. Now, yes, BDD is going to get some experience in the mid lane and also going to get some CS that Zoe is missing out on, but nonetheless, Afreeca, they're definitely going to be happy with the overall result from this. We can see SnowFlower comes in here, a little bit of damage loss on the side of aiming. He ends up even messing up his stutter step right there. The bubble ends up missing on Zenit. Otherwise, this could have been a lot worse. Would have probably ended up expending the cleanse almost immediately on the Kalista. But nonetheless, Afreeca going to walk away from that relatively happy, as Smeb is the first to recall up in top lane here. He's also down in CS, going to be going Ninja Tabbies. First item, SnowFlower coming in here. I just got to point out that Galio skin, it's reminding me of, you ever see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I have, yeah.
It looks like the cape that, what's his name, Leatherface wears?
God.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I do. It's been a while since I've watched that particular movie.
That movie needs a remake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge horror movie fan. As SnowFlower looks for it, but doesn't have the flash, so he's not going to be able to lock down Dread.
You don't like horror movies?
No, I get too scared, man. I get too scared. You know, I'm the kind of person that's like really empathic when I watch movies, so like horror movies are really difficult for me. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Actually, so I also, when I was a kid, my parents took me and my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, to see Phantom of the Opera, which was...
You know, I never saw that.
Well, the stage play is amazing, right? Some of the best music to be written for a long time. So it's great, but I was so scared I needed to listen to Christmas carols in order to sleep for the next week afterwards. And Phantom of the Opera is not that scary. I was just, for some reason, absolutely terrified. And my 8-year-old sister at the time,
she was loving it?
Absolutely fine. She's loving it, loved the music, you know, everything like that. It's one of the best experiences of her life. And for me, I was in hell.
Did you ever see Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, I did, actually. So that was a few years later, so I was actually capable of dealing with that one. But that was, I actually really enjoyed that for the style more than anything else.
Yeah. So, I think the first of its kind, actually.
Yeah.
The found footage that really utilized it well. I mean, obviously,
bottom side of the map, Zenit is trying to bounce away from this one, but aiming going to get slowed down by the Ren. Zenit, no flash available, tagged by the volley, but Jelly not with the headbutt pulverized just yet, and Dread spotted on a ward. Still, definitely a great trade for the Afreeca Freecs bottom side of the map.
Everything's going really well, actually, on the bottom side of the map. Same can't be said in mid lane, 24 CS deficit. Although Zoe does have a couple of minions in front of her turret right now.
Yeah, Score just wanting to try and repel any dive attempt. But damage control is not what you want to be doing as the Elise. You want to be demanding the respect of the Lee Sin around the map, and we've spoken about this matchup for so many years. The Lee Sin into the Elise. Whoever has the priority, whoever has the jump on their opponent is going to win the exchange. It's how we discuss it. See how they are going to go as this game moves forward. But at the moment, Dread is in a great spot. 2-0-0. Exactly what you want, and already with a gold bounty. Turret plate's going to be falling on the bottom side as well as the Demolish proc picks it up there for Jelly. This is bad news. Zenit had to go home. That's going to be a lot of CS missed. About 15. Couple of waves, in fact. Yeah, exactly. Very bad news, Bears.
Now the wave is actually going to come back into Afreeca. Dread maybe wanting to set something up here. Oh, this might actually entirely just give it away. Why is a Alistar arbitrarily pathing in the brush? gave that whole thing away. Unfortunate. That's going to be a sad cow.
That is a sad cow, but that is aiming getting a free back there. The timing was exactly what he wanted. He took cleanse as well, so not going to be teleporting back into this lane or anything like that. Infernal Chains are going to land there onto Smeb, as this is a gigantic lead for Kiin. He is smashing this matchup. Once again, it's going to be the Electrocute coming in for the Aatrox. That was what Flame went with both games yesterday. We've seen a lot of grasp and things like that into a matchup that can be a little bit more sticky. But Kiin's decided to go for the more aggressive choice, and it has been what's been a little bit more successful in the earlier stages of the game, especially in this Yorick matchup. Because Flame didn't get smashed yesterday, like hard smashed in the lane. It just felt like the game got out of control after he was dove a couple of times.
So far, this game, the Yorick is just going to need a little bit more time, although he is down 20 CS right now. He still does have 5 minions underneath his Charles 6, to include the cannon. Yep. Maiden helping him out, Julia.
Yeah,
2v1.
Nice work, Julia. He's going to come back up. So.
Cheater champion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Mordecai. Instantly turns things into a 6v4. Love it. Love it. All right, 20 CS advantage for B2D in the mid lane. That is certainly good news. Control wall goes down from score as the Afreeca Freecs with pressure here. But Zenit is by himself here in this lane. And the arrow is available. Cleanse not up just yet for Zenit. The SnowFlower walks on in. Justice Punch is going to come down. We're going to trade some knockups as there's the Trouble Bubble. Not going to land though. Now Fate's Call has to be employed. Really, really nicely done. Just holds onto it until enough buttons come out from the opposition team and then saves his support.
Meanwhile, we pan back up into the top lane. Smeb finally pushing the wave into Kiin.
Level 6 is a huge mark for the game. For the Yorick, now that the Maiden comes in, then you have to respect Morning Mist so much more. You have to respect every auto attack so much more unless you can deal with the Maiden. Aatrox not necessarily the best champion at doing that, which is why you see Smeb getting the push onto Kiin, and now we'll see whether he can rein that matchup back in.
Not a lot of excitement happening. Very surprised, actually, to see Kiin not just teleport back up into top lane. Instead, just going to run there, which might mean that he misses out on a few minions, as it's not a cannon wave that's crashing onto his turret.
I think that might be more a sign of the current state of the Afreeca Freecs that Kiin is holding onto this teleport, because he knows that he will need to help the rest of his map if they're going to win, right? The solo carry, although we talk about it a lot, it's not something that's very possible in the game of League of Legends.
Kiin is very far ahead right now up in top lane. He's up 400 gold. Even though it's only about a 14 CS deficit, there's also the Yorick goals.
Yeah, and there's also the turret plate that he's picked up.
Turret plate as well, so definitely a very good spot. He has that Black Cleaver, and now would be the time for the Aatrox to come online and really try to do things here to Smeb.
Yeah, that is actually a really big spike. As the other reason that Domination Tree is so good is you get to go into the Ravenous Hunter combo.
Yeah.
So you do get a bit of that healing back that you lost in the most recent nerf. So I like that as well. Another reason why Grasp isn't quite as strong. You can get Inspiration Tree value as well as Julia!
No!
It's just always so sad. As, hey Shelly.
Making her way up to top lane before just going back into the pit.
Yep, Score's going to be able to clear out this vision. Dread is up top side of the map, and they know that he's there. That's why Smeb is going to be playing back B2D, trying to get himself into position. But on the top side, there's not a lot of knock-up opportunities. And in fact, it's only the Yasuo that has to do it for himself. So the setups for these kills, they're going to require either Zenit in there with the Fate's Call, and SnowFlower is certainly a huge option with the Justice Punch, with the Hero's Entrance, and with the Fate's Call behind him. What they're going to have to be utilizing is Shelly, once again, going to get aggroed. Smeb is going to come forward, though. And Kiin is already down here. Windwall comes in. Kiin now looking for Score, and you can see the Ignite comes down just to deter them from trying to go for this steal. SnowFlower comes on in. Smeb wants to get forward as well. Shelly goes down, but it feels like it's not over just yet. KT do back away.
Definitely a very passive game here thus far. Ashe still waiting on her first core item completion, as well as the Zoe. Waiting on Ludens. Not a lot of excitement happening across the map.
The frightening thing to me is the fact that B2D's lead is only extending as this game goes on. He's currently ahead of the clock by about a minute. With his Zeal completion and with that Static Shiv very, very close by, we will have BDD able to shove and roam very easily. And as soon as he can pair up with his bottom lane, that's when you know that KT will be able to get this mid-game under control, as the ultimate is going to come down. Sun going to take half of his health bar, but BDD just putting on pressure, tearing apart these minions, and keeping the Zoe honest. Rift Herald going to come down towards the bottom side. We've got 40 seconds before the turret plates are going to be lowered, so I really like this. Huge injection of gold, and it will be going once again over to aiming. MVP of game number 1, and potentially setting himself up for another MVP performance in game number 2.
Managed to get himself 320 gold, the equivalency of a kill.
And Kiin is dirty farming behind Smeb's turret. And I just wasn't expecting that to be something that would be possible.
That's farming the minions on top? I think so. On the minimap, that blimp. Did it just go down? Was that Julia?
No, Julia's about to come back up again.
Julia's
died
about to come
earlier
back
on.
up again.
Yeah. Smeb's going to face check Kiin though. Knockup comes forward. This is going to be the combo.
Oh!
The pullback comes in. Smeb has the last rights, but the Umbral Dash is going to get Kiin out of the Dark Procession. No flash needed, but Smeb now missed out on a minion wave already. And Kiin's going to head back towards the top side, making it look like Aatrox is a counter to Yorick, and that's not something that we've been saying at any point.
He is riding him right now in the CS department. Still no Trinity Force completed for Kiin. Teleport was used by Smeb as well, so teleport advantage right now on the side of Afreeca, and because the minion state was so good, Kiin is able to yet again retain his teleport and path back up to the top lane just using his Umbral Dash.
Yeah. One after the other, 20% CDR already completed there. Doesn't quite have the next Caulfield's Warhammer for the 30%, but he's still very, very happy. Not sure whether he took the Cosmic Insight, because he does have some free ass boots, so could certainly have that 45 as this game goes on. Would like that. I feel like that rune choice is what Kiin's decided brings him back in, as the bubble is going to go very wide.
And Afreeca, they're looking to get themselves an Ocean Drake.
Well, Smeb actually wants this one, needs to land some auto attacks. The morning mist there, but just the Umbral Dash held onto. Dark Procession going to do nothing. And the Aatrox walks out, of course, does have the World Ender, so Smeb wasn't going to kill him, just wanted to put the pressure on.
Sun just checking around the map, maybe if Elise was waiting just behind the mid lane turret. And right now, I mean, there's so many jungle camps that are still up, and neither team really looking to just capture them and take the game at a slow pace. Is looking for some explosion.
This is fantastic. Smeb with the Maiden is up there. Cocoon is going to land onto Dread as the arrow comes forward, but SnowFlower is going to block it. Dark Procession comes in as there's the headbutt back. SnowFlower gets none of the taunts, but the fight is happening on multiple fronts. Afreeca moved their bottom lane up, but look at the team fight down here. Kiin just tanking up so much. World Ender has activated. That is one kill so far for the Afreeca Freecs. Bubble blocked by the wind wall. Jelly trying to find his way forward. Gets the headbutt pulve onto the Yorick. Flash immediately has to be used. Oh, the paddle star is so nice. More sparkles, not quite enough. But it is going to be the repel utilized. Score gets over to the popcorn chicken. Smite going to be used to get his health bar back. It is the Yorick falling down. SnowFlower is back up again though. Heroic entrance available, but not going to be employed. KT will lose the outer turret.
Yeah, it's a really close call, and now as well, KT probably going to lose some of their jungle camps. Never mind. Dread ends up getting repelled by BDD, but this was a major swing of events for Afreeca. You can see KT, they were looking to make some sort of a play up here, but Kalista nowhere nearby. SnowFlower.
Oh my goodness.
He was on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, he certainly was. Production
all the way.
Galio.
Yeah.
That's how it worked in Notre Dame, I think.
Well, Aatrox with the World Ender on a full-on retreat. Sun not able to land the bubble there thanks to the wind wall, but Jelly in the right spot, able to push on. Really unfortunate turn of events right there. Score living with a sliver of HP.
Yeah, had his chickens available as well, and them blocking, having the smite opportunity as well. So that keeps the Spider Lady alive, but limping away from a fight is not what you want to do, especially when you got the jump on Dread. The Cocoon landed, that's what started it all off, but then Kiin has the perfect teleport. And it's looking real nice for the Afreeca Freecs. They're already one game in the lead. KT feels like a bit of desperation here. Another Cocoon's going to land as Score's eye is certainly in. This is feeling pretty dangerous. And BDD's decided that he wants to accelerate his build. He was the Yasuo player of the last couple of days who's decided to go for the Infinity Edge second to get that power spike in damage as quickly as possible. A lot of our Yasuos do like to go Sterix as the second item choice. That's why you see the Static Shiv instead of the Phantom Dancer. But BDD just knows that he needs power as quickly as possible.
Well, he's trying to go for the Infinity Edge, as you are pointing out, but it is going to definitely be ways away, which is going to give more access to Afreeca in the upcoming team fights. Luden's complete for the Zoe, Blade of the Ruin King, and Runon's Hurricane. Okay, well.
Another Cocoon. Nice little burst of damage. Score not actually committing too far. Knew that Dread was hanging around. He can follow some Spiderlings, but he isn't going to, as Dark Procession once again. Bottom side of the map. Kiin taking a heck of a lot of damage. Feeling like a skill matchup that Kiin's been able to navigate so beautifully earlier, but if you just press all your buttons right on the side of Yorick, it should be that he will have a decent time, despite the fact that he has fallen down in that last team fight.
I just want to point out that Dread is still level 9 here, and we're almost at 20 minutes.
Arrow's going to follow through. Dread is going to turn up. There is the safeguard kick. Doesn't even need the flash. Had it available. That's a free one. And it goes over to the Lee Sin. I thought aiming was going to get that delivered, but who really cares at this point? They are winning by so much. Aiming's a full item ahead, as well as now the Hurricane is completed. This is a disaster, and you can see the Yasuo on your picture-in-picture. This is a my Yasuo situation. This is when he's on your team, and he's never in the team fight.
Oh, Jelly. Maybe wants to make a hero play. Sun.
X-Flash is going to come forward. Dread a little bit too soon, but Score's still going to bite the bullet. Aiming tanks it for just the right amount of time, but Zenit is here. Can we get the re-engage? Sun's coming on over, and BDD is about to turn up, but Inner Turret is going to go down. The Afreeca Freecs all the control in the world, and this is turning into a lead that I don't think KT are going to be able to find their way back from.
No, I don't think so either. Still ways away for the Yasuo to complete that Infinity Edge, and more advantages are just being accrued by Afreeca.
And if this was Solo Q, what would he be typing in all chat? He's like, look at how far ahead I am, guys. Stop dying. Something like that.
Reset ranked maybe, but that wish has been granted. As we're taking a quick highlight here of Smeb.
Earlier.
Just getting picked off really quick. This was a really nice engage into the back line. Really nice usage of the stopwatch by Dread as well. Score just being brought down. And KT, they're just a little bit slow on everything.
Yeah, I feel like
what they're trying to do.
They lost tempo and they've had no way of getting it back. Now we do have an item spike that has been able to at least help. BDD in a side lane will have the Infinity Edge available. His damage is out of control, right?
Yeah. But actually, the Edge came online a little bit sooner than I was expecting.
Yeah, unable to actually get any kills or assists or anything like that, but he is currently at 240 CS at 21 minutes. So, hoovering up the minions.
It's an okay job, 240
it's pretty.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Still not impressed.
I know, it's hard to impress. The head of Instagram didn't impress you before we had that conversation, so I don't know what will, to be perfectly frank. BDD is going to be charging up his Q, but the side lane is certainly where he's going to be his score. Repel is going to be there. Has to use the flash though. Headbutt pole is all too easy. Q's going to land, and aiming even gets himself a cheeky assist. As he makes his way up, Afreeca Freecs just pick off the spider. Feel like they've been to Australia. They've practiced this one. They know how to kill him. Score's gone down yet again.
4.5 minutes until an Infernal Drake comes up. Baron, probably not on the agenda just yet. It is a little bit early and no Mountain Drakes on the side of Afreeca, so it would definitely be a little bit of a gamble. However,
yep, flash has to be used now as SnowFlower has to stand in front of Zenit. Some damage, but they're going to be okay. But in the meantime, aiming on the top side of the map, outer turret is going to go down. Hawkshot keeps him safe and even has his cow just in the stable behind him. Everything's fine. Afreeca Freecs just doing what they need to do in order to win this game. They're not opening doors to victory like they have in the past. Remember, this is the team that lost to Jin Air Greenwings. Their only match win is against the Afreeca Freecs. This is not that kind of squad, right? Like, they look much better.
You have to wonder, what is Score thinking right here when he's on this side of the map? His other teammates are hugging their turrets. back in close proximity to their base. There's no reason to be this far up. He's not actually trying to get anything. Definitely everyone's just sort of floundering on the map right now. Very absent in the direction that they're trying to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, we can sit here and look at BDD with 255 CS here at 23 minutes, but really that's all that it is, just a farm simulator on the Yasuo.
He's playing PvE and the rest of his team is getting smashed 4v5 is the situation that's going on right now. You can't really fault BDD though. The game has been lost around him in a lot of ways. And Kiin, we haven't really been mentioning his name, but he won the Yorick matchup as the Aatrox and then has proceeded to just keep waves shoved forward, keep the pressure on, and he's doing his job beautifully. I don't know whether I'm a believer just yet, but this new Electrocute build for the Aatrox, certainly in my mind, does make him seem like a better pickup.
He's certainly doing a very good job here.
This is that, 45 CDR. We'll never know.
We'll never know. Don't know what a secondary tree actually is.
Yes, we do. He got free ass boots. So we know that it's inspiration. So Cosmic Insight could be the option.
It could indeed be. Even with 45% CDR though, the E is still slightly nerfed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The old Aatrox.
But it's slightly different as well, because I mean, it is slightly nerfed because you don't have the 2 charges.
Right.
But it's going to be coming up so you can use it just over and over and over again. Which is a little bit different. Not entirely sure.
Afreeca posturing now around the red-hand side jungle. That's
couldn't quite get the repel off in time as now SnowFlower does have to stand guard of his Spider Lady, but just a little bit too far away. Paddlestar barely misses as SnowFlower Justice punches his way out. KT live to fight another day.
Oh.
Okay, we're just going to start off the Baron. Fair enough. Score didn't have to use Flash, but doesn't have it available just yet. Smite is certainly there. Trouble Bubble lands onto the Gargoyle. And Jelly, look at this
really
position.
nice setup.
The double flank to come in as Kiin dives forward. Fate's Call's going to come in. 3-man knock-up with the pole. But can the Fate's Call get the work done? Zenit not quite dead just yet as Jelly should be going down. Kiin is the one that finishes off the Kalista though. And now he's taking damage. BDD very close to dead, but he's going to survive. Most importantly, Injustice Punch gets SnowFlower out. Score still up as well, and no Baron for the Afreeca Freecs just yet.
And 2 of the members on KT escaping with a sliver of HP. SnowFlower and BDD, very close calls. 40 seconds on the Infernal Drake, but Afreeca, they're calling in the teleport. Smite is available on both of the junglers. If Score's going to save the game.
Sun picked up a Smite as well.
Oh, that's it.
Yep, that's going to be the Trouble Bubble. Spiderling is not going to be able to stop anything. It's still going to be the Baron going down. Double Smite there as Sun managed to build one himself with his W.
And I like what Kiin and Naming are doing. They're not recalling. They would know that if they recall, KT would have the option to try to burst the Baron. BDD clearly doesn't see that as something that's on his menu. He's not interested in an Infernal Drake. Doesn't want to pick up a free 1,000+ gold.
There are red dots on the top side of the map, LS. Come on, man.
All right, okay.
Gotta follow the red dots.
Okay, so we're just going to give over an Infernal Drake here.
It's game plan. I mean, KT
see
also...
how much AD Ashe gets.
Yeah, we can we'll keep tabs on it.
Oh, 255 now. Get a pickaxe.
All right.
Yeah. A little bit more. 26.
281. Nice work. Nice rounding. Thank you very much, Riot Games. As KT, they took a lot of hope to start this one off. And Dread's been having a great game, but Jelly really just owned this team fight. Kiin able to follow up so easily afterwards. Fate's Call just to stop the Aatrox. So that meant that Jelly kept them all busy, and Kiin's able just to flash in on top as KT were piling and aiming. At this point is just free to hit control wards, do whatever the heck he wants because the team fight just gets one around him.
And that was a pretty decisive win there for Afreeca in this fight, and they have just been outclassing KT tonight.
Yeah, across the board, right? I was expecting this to be a 2-0, but honestly, I was expecting it to be a KT victory after what we saw them do to Gen G. Yes, it was a 2-1, but things looked great in their final game. I felt like finally we saw the synergy back together for Smeb and Score, but it is back-to-back games on Yorick, and this time he's 0-3-0. Up against the Aatrox that we saw just get decimated in this exact matchup yesterday. It's just a very, very weird game And it's just odd to see Smeb getting so outclassed. Kiin is an extremely good player, right? We need to remember that. He's able to do things on matchups that he shouldn't be able to. A lot of times is the kickback just to get rid of B2D. You can understand exactly why Dread opted in for that one. He's going to land the Q there just to keep tabs on the Yasuo.
I would definitely say that Kiin and Summit are probably the top 2 best top laners right now in the LCK, but Kiin probably pretty good. He takes the cake.
Yeah, I think he does too. But fortunately, he's on a bottom 4 team because the rest of the squad aren't quite able to keep up around him. But it's just so beautiful seeing Kiin show us exactly what he's capable of, because he's always been capable of this. The rest of his team does anything right, you know that Kiin's going to be there to finish things off. And 9-2 is the scoreline. 10,000 gold finally ticked over for the Afreeca Freecs, and 39 seconds left on this Baron buff. Base broken mid lane, top lane is teetering on the edge.
Oh, we're going to have an engage definitely on this wave. And that's going to be all that she wrote.
Oh, Arrow, nice wind wall to block it there from B2D as Fate's Call has to bring the Gargoyle back very early. Now Smeb jumps in there. Infernal Chain's not going to pull them back as Dark Procession stops anything, but that's just going to be a free disengage, and the tower still falls in favor of Afreeca.
Captain Careful is Afreeca now, as they do actually just back off, not wanting to force the issue and throw stuff away. A lot of bounties present on their champions right now, so...
Yeah, it's a big influx of gold if KT win a surprise team fight.
Playing it very, very safe. Ashe ends up backing up, eating the red. It looks like Aiming actually has an item to complete, as he's making his way all the way over to the Gromp. Perhaps needed the last 100 gold.
Yeah, I wonder what he's actually going to pick up here. He could go for something like a Phantom Dancer, but Rapid Fire Cannon certainly an option. I do like the Phantom Dancer choice. So some extra defensiveness here for the Ashe, and a whole bunch of extra crit now to augment that Infinity Edge. Ashe does like herself some crit, as it works with her passive so nicely.
What do you think Ashe's Hawk's name is?
Valor.
Harold. No, it's Harold.
Harold?
Yep.
Alright. I used to call her as Harold.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's
Harold the Herald? Oh no, and then
Shelly Rivers.
Yeah, and then it got told to me that she's Shelly Rivers Max.
Have you met her husband?
Bazza?
No, Thomas.
Ah, all right. Yes,
the River King.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot about the River King. Sorry, the River Kid is in fact Scuttle and Scootle.
Yep. It's their offspring.
Good old Scuttle and Scootle. Scootle was the most recent one to die, as you can see. Towards the Baron Pit, he's the northern boy. Good old Scootle. Sounds like a Pokemon name, doesn't it?
It really does. Oh!
Because it sounds like Squirtle.
Did you see Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Those new starters, terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Not a fan at all.
Yeah. And we're not going to talk about all of that stuff on Twitter about whatever it is, gang or whatever. We're going to talk about this inhibitor going down. And the Afreeca Freecs just taking it. Fate's Call going to come in. Okay, Smeb has got himself in position. Aiming. Should get taken down, but he is able to use the flash. SnowFlower gets on top of him regardless. Smeb trying to get in there, but Aiming. Oh! So much damage. Zoe with the double kill, cleaning up this backline. But KT can't do anything after that happens. It's a triple so far. Could it be the pentakill? The Quadra comes in, doesn't find the paddle star, and now he's just chasing. They want to give it over to Sun. His pentakill on his famous Zoe is picked up, and this is why it's often banned against him. He joins the Afreeca Freecs, and what does Papa say? He says, you've got to ban the Zoe. It's all he plays. It's exactly what you say at the start of this game. KT ignore it, and the penta is completed. Second one for the LCK.
And what a way to end the game there with the pentakill on the Zoe. And truly a very clean finish for a pretty clean series by Afreeca. Getting the 2-0 here against KT. And they have to feel really good about this.
Yeah,
this is a win
fantastic.
They really needed.
And off the back of a mid laner, LS. That's the big deal, because we've seen them cycle through so many different options. Even Spirit played mid lane. Even Kiin played mid lane. They've had 5 different people attempt the job. The last option was Brook, and it was a catastrophe. This time, Sun comes in. The last performance that they got a victory on with Sun was his Lissandra, which was very aggressive, actually very forward-thinking, but this Zoe performance was something else. The Paddle Star in that mid-game team fight around the Baron Pit was really nice to finish it off, and then kept things under control. This wasn't a Zoe that was all about landing that one bubble. It was team fight Zoe. It was chucking sparkles everywhere.
Yeah.
And pentakill at the end of the game. It's not often you see the Zoe pentakills because other people tend to steal those kills away with the amplified damage from the bubble. He didn't need it. Just smashed him. It was a good last-ditch effort for KT, but honestly, they'd lost that game a few minutes ago, and it was just cleaned up. This man on your screen right here is a large reason why that happened. He was able to win the Aatrox versus Yorick matchup, and then control the rest of the side lanes from there. And our UCal is still there, guys. Don't worry. He's still on the Afreeca Freecs.
He's in there somewhere.
He didn't want to go up against his former teammates.
It's like the Void. UCal's going to come back with an apostrophe in his name. It's going to be U apostrophe Cal.
Nah, he doesn't want to play against Score because he was the man that got Score his LCK championship. They were such good friends on that KT roster last year. And he just didn't want to do it to him. And so Sun comes in and smashes Score in the face. But congratulations to Aiming as well. This really is a wake-up for him. It's fantastic. You know, Sol joins the roster after the first round robin, and Aiming's like, oh man, my position is under threat, and then has a performance like this, and you feel a lot better having Aiming on your roster instead, even if he does forget his peripherals or a cup. Going back now, he will need to be back here for the MVP interview, guys, because this was a 2-0, and this was not the 2-0 that a lot of us were expecting moving into this game.
Definitely not. I think that a lot of people probably came in here tonight expecting KT to make quick work of Afreeca, but Kiin in Game 1 had other plans in mind. And then in Game 2, KT had other plans in mind, as they didn't really seem to have a plan actually in Game number 2. It was just sort of passively doing things and Afreeca making stuff happen.
Yeah, and also picking no auxiliary knockups on the top side of the map with a Yasuo composition also feels like a bit of a mistake, and also makes the Gragas ban on the side of the Afreeca Freecs in Game number 2 look like absolute genius, right? Because they pick up the Elise because it's the other mage jungler that you can use if
Continue.
Doesn't have a knockup.
Sorry, it doesn't need one.
The next one in the LCK, you know, that gets picked and wins games. All right, guys. Challenger, I know. Karthus, pretty good. BBQ, 3-0 on the champion, I believe. Is that the statistic? I think you know a bit about that team. Yeah. 3-0.
A little bit.
Pretty good. Do you get that champion ever again after that?
No, it's 100% ban or pick.
100% ban or pick.
Sometimes
in Challenger in Korea.
They get a little bit frisky. They let it through. That's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see the 100% win rate there, but we can see no 100% win rate here in the LCK, which is a little bit unfortunate. It was debuted here. We have actually had one, but it was Spirit, and he lost.
And we had mid-Karthus. That's just not where you put him.
No.
That might work in LCS, but get that garbage out of here, right?
Fly didn't quite find the victory on the Karthus in the mid lane. It hasn't actually found too many of the victories anyway, after falling to KT yesterday, and KT then falling to the Afreeca Freecs. Feels like a weird game of rock, paper, scissors as we have a look at the replay of this beautiful pentakill. And let's keep our eyes on Sun to see how he actually managed to get this one done, because he starts on the bottom side of the map and makes a bit of a late rotation towards this battle. Gets the cleanup as Aiming does fall down, and they rely now on Sol just to tidy, Sun, to tidy this one up.
Really,
and he steals every single flash that gets dropped on the ground.
BDD was trying to lift up everyone, and then Kiin just told him to sit down real quick.
How many flashes has this man used in this teamfight? I think it's like 5. I think he uses a flash per kill.
Zoe's a really good.
Give me penta, no flash.
I'm gonna get penta.
I like
eat the penta.
Nice.
Yeah. But that was everybody else talking, and Sun just saying, yes, I'm gonna get this penta, I'm gonna get this penta, I'm gonna get this penta. Thankfully, no one was like Roach, who stole away Ruler's pentakill in that recent series that Roach played, and then tilted them off the face of the planet. That was a very, very sad time, but this wasn't for the Afreeca Freecs, and I'm just so happy to see this squad actually performing, right?
Yeah.
Because watching Kiin flounder around is very similar to watching Ruler, right? World champion, still phenomenal AD carry player, but just can't quite get it together with his team.
Yeah,
Kiin was in a very similar situation.
There's a few legendary players that are sort of like wild Pokemon that are just trapped on different teams. Teddy, he did make his way to SK Telecom, finally picked it up by Ashe Ketchum there, but here we are taking a look at some of the highlights, and this is where things just started going really weird. A very bizarre force by KT. You can see it was a very awkward route by Score in and of itself. Another peculiar fight. You can see, where's Kalista pathing to? The wave has already crashed underneath the turret.
Yeah, that's the production line that you were talking about before,
There we
creating some
go.
gargoyles.
This fight just kept going from bad to worse. They barely managed to escape at the very end right there.
Wind wall was very nice. In
Yes.
fact, that would have been a very dead BDD if that hadn't have gone up, but that paddle star on the back line, you see Score and Zenit get absolutely pulverized. It was only Yorick that falls down here, but it's the Afreeca Freecs asserting dominance, right? And at this point, they go back, they create all of this map control, and then Smeb gets caught out. The ward is there, the safeguards all Dread needs to lock down the kickback, and even aiming's able to come in. He was a bit of a passenger this game, but that was honestly what he needed to do. It was a really good repel. That's what gets the Elise out of trouble, but then back into trouble straight away.
Why is Score there on the map? Can you look at the
Because
mini-map and
BDD
tell
was the
me?
one with all of the farm, so
Okay.
he was playing around the Yasuo. That's my
This was
that's
the
my
Baron
guess.
fight to end it all. This was the jelly that, you know, I think KT was a little bit jelly after that engage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jelly had back-to-back fantastic performances
Yeah, he
on
did.
the Alistar. Felt like this was a team. It's a teamwork story for Afreeca Freecs when they're the team that doesn't have very many teamwork stories, right?
I really do think Jelly should get MVP
You reckon?
this game. I truthfully do. I think that in some of the major decisive team fights, he just did such a phenomenal role. I guess the only other argument that you could maybe make is Kiin, because he managed to overcome Yorick up in the top lane.
You know Sun's going to get the MVP, right?
Yeah, of course, because that, I mean, what
He
is
got a
logic,
pentakill.
you know? Yeah, he got a pentakill.
And also he got
No.
he got the good teleport roam down towards the bottom side of the map to get
Nice.
them in this good position.
Yeah, then he
right?
lost mid lane by 30 CS, so
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
40 CS, like 50, something like that. Some ludicrous number
No
towards
big deal.
the end there, but
got a penta.
he did
Of
a
course
fair
that's
bit of
MVP.
damage as well. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, fair bit of, all right. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
You know,
The Yasuo
Yeah, what-
had a lot of CS, but wasn't
what is
actually
the-
hitting many champions, as you saw.
3-4-man Alistar engage, knock up, multiple plays just being set up, great flanks. Got a penta. Any other champion could have just maybe picked up the kill, but
I sense an MVP LS reaction Reddit thread in the future. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried.
here we go. Moment of truth.
Yep. Here we. Well, it's gonna be Sunday. I told you. I told you. Stay. Nah, he did a great job this game, and I actually think it's great. So now we actually get to have a conversation with the new mid laner here that only joined the Afreeca Freecs roster at the conclusion of the first round robin here in 2019. So very fresh face here for the Afreeca Freecs.
Well, you can see him getting the pentakill right here. He did hit some pretty good bubbles, though.
He did. And also the
He
paddle
did
star in the
manage-
fight prior,
Yep.
teleporting in and managing to get the cleanup on the score was really nice. So there were multiple points in that game where Sun played
Yeah, he
very
definitely
well.
did stuff.
Yeah, the laning phase just wasn't it, right? And he just
네,
lost a whole
아프리카
bunch of farm.
프릭스가
But
이라운드
we are going to get to have a
기본적으로
chat to him, so let's throw it over to
신고했습니다.
G-Sun for some
오늘의
MVP
선수
interview
선수
translation.
모실게요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
야, 오늘 경기 진짜 완벽했습니다. 실수 하나 없이 잘 풀어내셨는데요. 에이밍 선수 오늘
Today's game
정말
was perfect.
좋았거든요. 애쉬로
Aiming.
아주 1, 2세트
Your snipe was
굉장한 모습
awesome.
보여주셨는데 소감도 남다르실 것
How do you
같아요.
feel about today's victory?
제가 애쉬를 처음 플레이했던 것
I think
같은데
this is my first time playing
처음
Ashe.
했는데도 잘
Even though it
돼가지고
was my first
좋았던 것 같아요.
time, I think I
네,
did pretty well,
알겠습니다.
so it feels really
자, 경기
good.
얘기는 계속해서 들어보고요. 또 선 선수
And moving on to
요즘
Sun,
좋은 모습 많이 보여주고 계세요.
who
오늘 이
are
조합에서
showing great
에이밍 선수와
performance
호흡을 맞춘
recently.
것도 처음이기도 하고
And I
오늘
think
경기
this is your
어떠셨나요?
first time playing with aiming, so how was today's
저희가
series?
최근에 상황이 안 좋아가지고 오늘
Recently, we weren't doing really well,
그래도 완벽하게 이긴 것 같아서
but I'm really happy that we got a perfect
네,
victory
또
against
선
KT
선수는
Rolster, so I'm really
KT에
happy.
계셨었잖아요. 그래서
And Sun,
형들과
you
인사도
was
했다고
previously
하는데
in
서로 응원 많이
KT
해주셨나요?
Rolster. Did you have any
형들이 막
message
오랜만이다.
before games?
그 반가워가지고
We were just saying it has been a while, so and I just went to say hi and
네, 그렇게 선
we just
선수가
played
오늘
game
정말
together.
잘 해주셨습니다. 자, 1, 2세트 에이밍 선수가
Game 1 and 2,
애쉬와
aiming.
알리의 조합을 정말 잘 보여주셨어요.
You showed great combination of Ashe and Alistar. Game 1, you guys first picked Galio, so were you thinking of Galio support as well?
미드 선수가 둘 다 갈리오를 잘하기 때문에
Well, both our support and mid laner are good at Galio, so it was a flex pick.
근데 상대 조합을 보고 이거는 미드로 보내는 게 낫겠다 싶군요.
You guys ended up using it in the mid lane, right? Correct. Well, I guess Alistar as a support was the main role in game 1. So how was your teamwork with Jelly today?
누가 서포터를 하든
No matter who plays support for me, I had huge faith in them.
그랬던 것 같아요.
So it was pretty good.
아프리카 프릭스가 1세트에 사실은 초반에
Afreeca.
미드에서 조금 힘들었어요.
Well, actually, there were some hard time in the early game in the mid and jungle, but you guys turned the game around at the team fight.
자, 이때 구도가 어땠나요?
So what was going on over there?
일단 상대가 다 붙어 있어가지고
At first,
좀 쌈 싸먹는 식으로.
well, all the KT Rolster players were gathered together, so it was easier for us to open team fight. So
하지만
it wasn't really hard for us to engage.
쉽지 않았을 한타였을 거라고도 생각을 하는데 저 정도로 대박이 날
So,
거라
did you expect
예상하셨나요?
that such a big win in that team fight?
저희가 어느 정도 이길
Well, we
거라고
didn't really
생각을 했던
expect
것 같아요.
that we're gonna be in a huge lead after that, but yeah, we did have good feelings before opening the team fight.
아니 LC 궁은 이렇게
And today, your ultimate was landing on every opponent.
전투를 여는 막 그런 장면이
You are
많이
the main
나왔거든요.
player that
어떠셨어요?
opened
오늘
team
궁이
fight.
유난히 잘 맞으셨나요?
Was that a good day for you?
저희 팀 와드 서포터
Well,
정글러들이 샤를 잘 먹어둬가지고
all my jungler and support had so many wards in the map, so it kind of enabled me to land my ultimate so much.
자, 2세트에는 선 선수의 활약이 대단했습니다.
Moving on to game 2, Sun, you were playing Zoe. You went with Unsealed Spellbook. Why was that?
제가 챌린저스 경기 자주 챙겨보는데
I watch Challengers Korea a lot, and
조이들이 봉풀줄 많이 들고
a lot of
있어서
Zoe players actually choose Unsealed Spellbooks. I thought it was really good, and today I was able to pick up good results.
네, 많이 좋은 것 같아요.
I think it's really good.
있었던 갱도 조이 선수 조이의 그 공풀주 때문에
Especially
잘
your
받아치는
ganking in
장면도
bot lane was
있었고요. 그리고 오늘
had
아프리카
good synergy
프릭스가
with the
워낙
spell,
조합이 좋고 잘
right?
풀리다 보니까
And Afreeca
펜타킬도
had a
가져가시게
really
됐어요.
an easy
와,
game,
그거
and
정말
you were able to
재밌겠어요.
pick up a
어떠세요?
pentakill. How was that?
펜타킬은 제가 잘해서 먹은 게 아니라 저희 팀.
Well, it wasn't actually my super play. I think all of my teammates were doing so well to make me
팀원들이
pick up
잘
the
받쳐주고
pentakill.
조이의 선 선수의 펜타킬까지 나오게 됐습니다. 정말 대단합니다. 펜타킬 장면
So
한번
let's
볼까요?
have a
아쉬우세요?
replay of that pentakill.
네, 준비되어 있으면 저희 한번 보겠습니다. 야, 이때 사실 조이에게 뭐 키를 몰아주고 그런 상황은 아니었잖아요.
Well, at first it wasn't really intended to make you pick up the pentakill, right?
펜타킬이 나올 것 같아서.
Yeah, but like when I keep picking up kills, I felt like this is the time for me to make pentakills. So in the end, I was like screaming for pentakill, and all the other players were also just being so supportive
오늘
to make
아프리카
it.
프리스가 특히나 호흡이 더 잘 맞는 듯한 느낌이었어요.
Today, Afreeca
긴 드레드
Freecs
썬 에이밍
looked
젤리.
really
이
solid
조합은
as a
처음
team.
나오는 조합이거든요.
And today, you
연습
guys
때 분위기가
tried the new starting roster.
저희는 이제 누구끼리 하든 분위기 좋게
I mean,
하려고 노력하고 있는.
We are always trying our best to find out the best
모습이었고요.
composition. I think
아,
all
그리고
the players
조합도
are
오늘 유난히
best
분위기
players. So I
좋았는데
just can't
선
just pick
선수
one composition.
노갈량
아, 네.
코치님의 영향이
Today, I
크나요?
think your
어떠세요?
draft was really good. Is that
연장 코치기고 하시는
a no offense idea?
좋은 뱀핑 하나 준비해주고.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very well-known head coach, and also he always comes with really awesome drafts. So I always want to thank him.
영향도 많이 받았다고 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 자, 아프리카 프릭스의 다음
So
경기가
Afreeca Freecs,
그리핀이에요.
your next opponent is
정말 침이
Griffin.
꿀꺽 삼켜지는데 자신 있으신가요?
Are you confident?
저희가 이제 하던 대로 하면은
Well, if we keep
어느
doing what
정도는
we
할수 있지 않을까.
normally do,
네.
자신 있습니다.
쉽게
I
지진
think we
않겠다.
can give it a
네.
try.
네, 이기면 더 좋고요.
네.
또
I'm
응원하도록
confident.
하겠습니다. 선 선수는
What
각오가
about you,
어떠세요?
son?
저희 열심히 해서 그리핀
We're gonna
정도
do our
이기고
best,
연승하는
and
모습
we're gonna make sure to take down Griffin
네,
and
팬분들이
show our
그
fans that
모습
we can
많이
pull up
기다리실
some
거라고
win
생각을 합니다.
streaks.
계속 응원하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 인터뷰 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for this interview, and this will be the end of the interview
네,
with
에이밍 선수, 선
Aiming
선수
and Sun
만나봤습니다.
from
준비선
Afreeca Freecs, and I'm
연결할게요.
gonna pass it back to our casters.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for your translation. That question was hilarious. Not going to lie to you, and the response was just perfect from Aiming. Are you going to beat Griffin? And he says, yeah, if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're going to give it our best shot. And then that wry smirk. Just brilliant. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for the translation, Ji-sun. As Afreeca Freecs 7th place. KT Smackdown. Remember, KT still with some games to play. You can see 4-10 is not the same amount of games as 3-9. Still a bit of catch-up to be done here from KT Rolster, but Afreeca Freecs trying their very best to claw their way out of that relegation zone after being the only team to give Jin Air a victory is just a really, really strange turn of events. Because remember, they were able to get that surprise victory over Sandbox at the same time. Guys, we are going to be going to a relatively long break. It is going to be approximately 7:50 that we go back live again, but it's 2-0. It was a very quick one for the Afreeca Freecs, and that means that Sandbox versus Griffin is round the corner, but it's a relatively long corner, you know? Okay, guys, we are going to have that long break, and we'll see you afterwards for the big first versus second.
You take me higher when I feel low, make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning. Together we'll be